Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Langley Lab, where we tinker and you thrive. So, in today's episode, we're going to be covering UKG's universe, the history, all sorts of great stuff. And if you're watching this, you're probably trying to do your homework on UKG. If you're deciding on an HCM software, a big investment potentially for your organization, this is a big deal. You want to understand the history and your partner. What have they been doing, or your potential partner as an HCM? What decisions have they made, and where are they going now? What's their vision? Does it line up with where you're going as an organization? And is this the best decision for you? So let's get into it, shall we? So, this presentation was put together by somebody very dear to me, so I appreciate their hard work with this presentation. Kristen, you know who you are. Moving on, as I mentioned, this presentation you'll learn about the UKG universe, its history, what UKG offers as of June 2025, and so much more. We're going to go over the history for those of us that want to geek out and nerd out about where UKG has been and where they're going. So stay tuned. We're also going to dive a little bit into acquisitions, pre and post merger, and then UKG module influences. So you'll get to hear the old names versus new names, all of the things that have gone on in the long history. Then we'll dive into some of the product comparisons, add-ons, and I'll try to answer any questions in the comments below. So if you think of anything, feel free to comment and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So in terms of the history, UKG was previously two different companies. The first is Ultimate Software, was founded in 1990, and their focus really was HCM solutions. Payroll, they were known for seamless payroll processing, a workforce management, basically a full HR suite that they had built, and it was very, very good. And also known for their customer service, which was awesome. And then Kronos Incorporated was founded back in 1977, 13 years older than Ultimate Software, and they revolutionized timekeeping systems. They were known for cutting edge of scheduling and workforce management, and their hard efforts definitely paid off because you can almost enter any big organization and know that they were likely using Kronos. So, really great timekeeping system. And so, when UKG announced the merger in 2020, it actually made so much sense. They were now combining the best of both worlds because Kronos had an HCM product, but it was not known to be best in class. So, combining both efforts, they became a really powerful global leader in the HCM and workforce management space, valued at 22 billion at that point. It was really great to see these companies come together and form just a powerhouse in this industry and to compete with the likes of other competitors like PeopleSoft, Oracle, or Workday. So, this is a glimpse into some of the acquisitions that Kronos did, about 12 acquisitions. And a lot of these show just the gaps that they were trying to fill at that time, what the original purpose was, as well as current modules. I'm not going to go into this super in depth, but wanted to share this because you can really clearly see that as they solidified their very base timekeeping items, they started to move into specialized scenarios and focused on those global companies, perhaps that have specialized needs like public safety, healthcare, casinos, really big money to make in those areas, but also a lot of tailored attention in those areas. So, really exciting to see that they're moving in that direction of becoming more tailored towards their clients. Ultimate Software acquisitions, again, in 2020, they merged. So, there are a couple of companies here that you can see they purchased, including Employee Services and PeopleDoc. One of my favorite acquisitions was PeopleDoc because of the case management introduction in Document Manager. Huge fan of those. And then after 2020, you can see that there were about 5 other acquisitions. Again, UKG is going after global clients, and you could tell by the acquisitions that they're really honing in on the strategic things that global or larger enterprise organizations want to see for their softwares. So, really cool, especially the UKG One View, which is the last item there, where they purchased in Metis. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but if you know how it's pronounced, feel free to let me know. So that's going to be really big for their future growth there. They also announced another merger as this presentation was getting completed, but there are constant acquisitions to keep up with UKG Universe. So the UKG module influences, this is just at a glance of where all the UKG Pro modules came from and the companies that were acquired influences. So you could really see potentially why some modules may be a little bit disjointed and not fully synced to core because it takes time, or even business intelligence. For example, HRSD, HR service delivery, does not fully integrate with business intelligence. They, in fact, have their own reporting solution in Google Analytics, I believe. And so it's extremely interesting to see how they will further merge everything together over the coming years, even though that one was purchased back in 2018, I believe. So lots of things have happened and they have to prioritize them. So I get it. In terms of UKG comparisons, UKG currently offers three main products. I'll say main because these are the ones that they mainly advertise. So, UKG Pro is meant to be that full HR suite where you can manage your talent, your ATS, your performance, learning management, etc. And UKG Ready is basically a simplified version. I'll call it the little sibling of UKG Pro. It was formerly the HCM of Kronos. You might hear it called HCM Dimensions as well, not just WFM, but Dimensions, what people don't always know is that it has both an HR suite and advanced scheduling. UKG is best for mid to large enterprises, and UKG Ready is meant for more small to mid size. And WFM is really an add on to either one of these. So if you have UKG Ready, you'd probably add on WFM, or UKG Pro, and you'd probably add on WFM. It's meant just for any organization that has complex labor needs. And one cool thing about WFM is you'll often see it as a white glove service for companies out there. For instance, TriNet is a PEO and they use WFM as their back office, but they label it as TriNet's timekeeping system. So, really interesting. HR management as well. They can do workflows. UKG Pro can do global management. UKG Ready has more centralized, simplified, again, the sibling of it, but can make most compliance things happen. With payroll, I just want to put a really clear disclaimer here. UKG Pro does not process all countries. You would have to do your due diligence there, but it does have native payroll. You could process payroll in Canada, the US. And so they have a variety of global capabilities, especially now with the UKG One View that they've introduced into the picture. So definitely look into that. It's quite exciting, but they cannot process payroll in other countries. So you'll get to see that once you dive deep if that's something you're interested in. UKG Ready is basically US focused, payroll's built in, and WFM, because they're advanced timekeeping, they are not payroll at all. And then time and attendance. UKG Pro has basic time tracking that already comes with it. It's called UAT, UTM, but they're actually moving away from those timekeeping systems and trying to really push for WFM. And that's because WFM is just that best in class. But they'll still do that. And there's actually phase out dates for UTM and UAT. Won't go too far into those. UKG Ready has also that built in time and attendance, clock in, clock out features, and WFM, obviously best in class, advanced timekeeping and compliance rules. With scheduling, again, UKG Pro, pretty basic. UKG Ready,
They have rules and templates that you can use. WFM, AI powered scheduling with demand forecasting and fatigue rules. Again, a lot more complex. And then with talent management, you have performance, recruiting, LMS integrated with UKG Pro, and compensation. UKG Ready, again, optimal for tracking some basic metrics, I'll say, because the reporting is just not very sophisticated on that side, but you could still get all the data you need, the basic data. And WFM doesn't have talent management. UKG Pro does have benefits administration where you can capture life events, open enrollment, even have built in carrier feeds so that you don't have to have dual entry to your carriers or export files. So that's really cool as well. UKG Ready has basic benefits tracking and enrollment. I'm not as familiar with UKG Ready, if I'm being honest. Definitely worked a lot more with UKG Pro. So you'll just think of that as a simplified version. And UKG Pro, I want to be clear about this too. They have multiple different offerings of benefits. They have a core one. They have benefits administration, which is a little bit more advanced, and you have all those carrier feeds. And then they just introduced a benefits hub, which is also different. So all of those are meant to address different needs and complexities from least to most complex, I'd say. You want to definitely take a look at that. And for analytics and reporting, all of these have analytics. However, because UKG Pro uses IBM Cognos to power their people analytics platform or like all the reporting, it is really, really cool to see that. And then UKG Ready has, again, some really basic items. You can pull, add columns, but you can't really do SQL reporting unless you have a back office kind of access. And WFM, you can get real time dashboards, do a lot of different reporting within that system. Part two of this includes AI and machine learning capabilities. Now, UKG Pro has rolled out Bright AI. So they have a lot of capabilities in the AI space that they're rolling out slowly throughout the last year or so. And they also have talent predictions that they embed based on talent profiles, meaning education, past performance, etc. That helps you as a leader of the organization make the best decisions for your organization. Now, UKG Ready is also introducing some of these capabilities, but again, because of the more simplified versions, there's going to be a little bit less offerings there. And then WFM, they have a lot of great things that they can integrate there. I believe that they're also planning to do labor, some AI scheduling suggestions as well, which is really cool. And then compliance tools, all of these meet compliance. And I don't want to just say that they like carte blanche do the compliance for you. So just be really clear about this. Even though UKG Pro does offer ACA, it doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything. It's just that you have the tool to be able to report out and work with the states. And so that's kind of the same along all these lines. It still requires a human oversight for each of these tools. And then mobile app capability. All of these have mobile app. And last year they introduced one mobile app that will support all three of these platforms, which is exciting. So, well, specifically UKG Pro and WFM. And then for customization, UKG Pro does have a high level of customization you're able to do, especially within custom fields you can add, forms you can do, a lot of capabilities there. And then UKG Ready also has some workflows, definitely a lot more limitations than UKG Pro, but still some workflows are available there. And then WFM, high customization. You can assign roles, basically any single field you have, you can customize, which is pretty amazing. And then integration capabilities. UKG Pro does have API library and a developer hub that is publicly available. So feel free to check that out. And they have API and pre built connectors, endpoints that you're able to tap into. And UKG Ready does have a native suite, and they do have some API capabilities with different partners. So definitely check that out as well to look more into it if it meets your needs. And then WFM definitely offers a lot of integrations, especially not only with UKG Pro and UKG Ready, but with other partners. I've even seen it integrate well with Workday and other like Oracle. So lots of cool abilities there. And then in terms of geographic reach, UKG Pro, you could see that for global companies quite easily. Works great for the US based companies I've worked with. And then UKG Ready, US or Canada based primarily. And WFM can do multinational compliance. Again, best in class, really going above and beyond there. And then full HCM suite, UKG Pro. Yes, you're getting everything. You can get everything within the base package. UKG Ready is the simplified version of HCM suite. Again, putting that caveat in there for smaller to mid-sized organizations. And WFM is a standalone timekeeping module, so not full HCM. And then advanced workforce management. Again, UKG Pro and UKG Ready are in the moderate section of this. WFM is much more advanced with workforce management when it comes to timekeeping and resource allocation. And then when we talk about ideal organization size, these are just suggestive numbers. They're not actual hard and fast numbers that we would say if you're not at 1,000 employees, you shouldn't use UKG Pro because it depends solely on every organization's unique vision and future. So, like the company is on a huge growth spurt, why not invest in UKG Pro even though you're at 500 employees? Absolutely recommend that you take a look at how complex your organization is, or if you need help doing so, contact Langley Consulting because this can get really tricky. And if you want to be scalable, invest in something that's going to scale with you, which UKG Pro I definitely recommend. But UKG Ready, again, if your needs are much more simple, by all means. And lastly, deployment type. All of these are cloud-based systems, so you don't have to worry about updating an on-prem system. So they have backups, they have servers on different sides, West Coast, East Coast, with backups of all data, and they have a really good disaster recovery plan as well. Okay, with UKG Pro, this is just a slide with a couple of more things that go more in depth with what each area provides. But because I've already covered a little bit of it, I'm not going to go too much into it other than the manager and employee experience, because I think that's an area that I kind of brushed over. UKG Pro does offer self service portals. Employee self service is often a lot more used than manager self service, but I've seen it used both. And with the HR service delivery, People Assist, that case management tool, extremely advantageous. And with their purchase of Great Place to Work, the surveys and sentiment analysis that you can do through employee voice is extremely, extremely valuable. And with UKG Ready, here are some other items as well, where you can quickly see that they have all of the same similar things that you would expect to see, including manager and employee self service over here, as well as some of the other basic compliance and reporting needs that you need. With UKG's add ons, this is a part one. You have UKG One View, which is really cool. So, all of these UKG add ons I'm about to talk about are basically things you can add on to your package of UKG products. So, OneView is meant to unify all of your payrolls that you're processing outside of UKG and put them all in one system to be reported out from one place. So, you have consistent employee experiences. So, if you need employees to just come into UKG for their pay slips rather than going into a separate third party payroll service, this is how you would do it. And it's really cool to see that they purchased a company to accomplish this. And then you have UKG Telestaff Cloud, and this automates complex scheduling for like fire departments, EMS, police. all of those emergency services, it's meant to be scalable and provide real-time support and cloud support that's 24/7. So, it's extremely important that they have a more advanced scheduling because that's what they need, right? And in UKG InTouch DX, you're able to have a modern and intelligent time clock design that streamlines time tracking to enhance the employee experience. So you can actually use a facial recognition software to clock in. So you're not just like putting your thumb on there, you can use that. And it has a personalized user interface. So you can easily access schedules and time off requests within the same type of interface. So, also very cool and multilingual support, which is great. In UKG Add-Ons Part 2, we have the UKG Virtual Roster Cloud. So, when you're addressing real-time labor visibility, especially for casinos where you have people moving around to different tables, this is going to help so that you know where people are at all times and are clocking into different areas. So, really cool. And then UKG Wallet is one of those things that comes at no cost to employers, but you can add it on to offer your employees real-time earned wage access. So, huge fan of giving employees payouts for what they've already earned, especially because most employees are living paycheck to paycheck. So, this is a huge financial wellness tool. Highly recommend to implement, especially because it comes at no cost for employers, no additional cost anyway. And then UKG Easy Call is one of those other WFM add-ons that you can have specifically for physicians, hospitals, residents, and any clinical staff really that has rules. Like maybe you need certain certifications or specialties within every shift. So this is where this comes in handy. And again, it shows UKG's determination to be extremely tailored towards their bigger and more complex clients. Part 3, I swear we're almost done here. UKG Clinical Scheduling Extensions. So that's again another add-on for healthcare settings where you can have automated patient to staff assignments. So real-time data to match your patient's needs with qualifications that are required for it. It's targeted, it's enhanced, and helps you maintain compliance, especially within the healthcare setting, because we know how complex needs can be from, local office to the hospital to multi-hospital management. So anything to help is extremely beneficial. And last but not least, you have UKG Talk, which is a mobile first communication and collaboration platform designed to streamline internal communications across organizations. And this is really meant for organizations that are not necessarily always at their desktop. I saw a story come out recently where they were talking about a theme park, where people are at rides and everything, and they're not necessarily at a computer all the time. So they need a way to just talk with each other. Great platform to do that. Feedback, you can recognize people. Awesome. And it has workflows that you can associate as well, integrating it with shift changes and all that. So, really cool. You should now have a better understanding of UKG's history. I know I summed up a lot, especially from 1977 up to present day. So you should know what they offer at least at a high level and which solutions might be best for your company. If you're still having trouble, though, feel free to contact us. We are here to help. Our company is dedicated towards making sure you're making the most out of your technology that you invest in. So contact us or comment below, and we will make sure to get back to you at our earliest convenience. So, hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for attending today. All right, see you next time.